Hi. 1 minute to spare.
You're good. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're talking about your one-day guide to the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. Honestly, I knew it was going to be beautiful, but I was blown away at how little effort is needed to see some just amazing and spectacular views, and that's actually part of what I want to talk through today. So in this video, I'm going to take you on a full day trip across the Rocky Mountain National Park, starting from the Beav3r Meadows Entrance Station on the east side all the way to the Grand Lake entrance on the west side. Up front, you should know, Rocky Mountain National Park spans over 400 square miles with elevations ranging from 7,500 to about 14,000 feet. This park is known for incredible alpine scenery, abundant wildlife, and the famous Trail Ridge Road, the highest continuous paved highway in the US. There's your quick intro overview. The Trail Ridge Road closes during the winter time, so if it's open, summer, spring, whatever it is, you should definitely be spending some time on this road. For the second section of this video, I'm gonna go through top tips and important information that you should know, and then the third piece of this will be me narrating our trip. I'm gonna walk you through the different stops that we made and just things that you should know as you look at the video and you plan to check out this park. Up front, I would acknowledge my wife is 7 months pregnant. I'm traveling with a 7-year-old. This is not a video about the best hikes that you're gonna find at Rocky Mountain National Park. That is available. There's online resources. You can look at all trails. I'm gonna reference those here, but really gonna focus on if you plan to do a day trip and you follow what we did, what you're gonna experience and what I recommend. First thing you gotta know is there are two types of reservations. There are reservation dates. If you're going in 2025, you can reserve the park itself or you can reserve the park with Bear Lake, which is very recommended. I did hear that Bear Lake is very busy as I spoke to multiple rangers to prepare for this video and my trip. Would still recommend you try and get the reservation, but just know that it's tougher to get. Now, if you go into the park before 9 a.m., you can skip the reservation. If you're going into Bear Lake 6 a.m., which is a big difference. So immediately you should know you need to reserve during a certain time frame, and it's much more difficult to get into Bear Lake. Safety in driving. While you drive around, there's really the one road. You can take some side roads to different places, but you're gonna be on Trail Ridge Road for most of this if you're planning on doing that, and if you're gonna follow along what we did. And just know there's some windy roads and some turns, so if you step out of your vehicle and you decide to take some photos, you wanna be cautious because I found it a little simple to be blindsided by some oncoming cars in certain areas of the park. Restrooms up front. A rainbow curve outlook is the first place that we saw bathrooms. If you're going east to west, would recommend that you visit the visitor center. I did read they had actual bathrooms there. You can do that, or you can stop by Rainbow, and those are gonna be pit toilets, so be prepared. On the elevation piece, there are some parts of this where you get really high up. I normally don't get altitude sickness. I did start to deal with a little bit of dizziness, a little bit of a headache on this trip. The highest point we got was about 12,000 feet, and that's a lot, especially from somebody coming from San Diego, where it is not nearly that high. Keep in mind, connectivity here is almost non-existent. As soon as you enter the park and you start to get into any elevation, cell service is gonna be gone, and expect that for a good portion of the day in the park. And lastly, you wanna make your way to the top at the visitor center, the Alpine Visitor Center. This is where you can stop, get some food, do a really easy hike that I have a trail guide for. You should check that out. And it's a good stopping point, but be prepared. There's gonna be some traffic. There's a good amount of people around. Just be prepared and be mindful for that. Now, as part of what you'll hear when you research anything about Rocky Mountain National Park are the alpine lakes. And here's why they're so special. In most mountain ranges like the Sierra Nevada or the Grand Tetons, you have to hike many miles or thousands of feet up to see them. But in the Rocky Mountain National Park, especially along the Trail Ridge Road, you can just look down and easily walk to areas where these alpine lakes are there without having to do a hard climb. That's what really makes this park so special. Now, I'm gonna play some audio from the rangers that I spoke to. There are 3 really important things that you're gonna know. I'm gonna just tell you up front, the weather changes a lot, especially towards the top of the mountain. Be prepared to go from sunny to it's a hailstorm. Luckily, we didn't get that. There were some ominous looking clouds, but outside of that, we were pretty lucky. But I do want you to know, and there's times a day, it seems like it starts out pretty sunny and then it gets worse as the day goes on. You really have to be prepared for those weather changes up at the top. I'm summarizing what the ranger said. The other 2 things he called out as I spoke to them and got our handy dandy map and everything. You don't have to do full trails. At this elevation, it is not the time to like want to push your body beyond its limits.
Myself as an alpine ranger, I'm somewhat obligated, especially if people are coming from away where they're not used to our altitude.
Yeah.
Do not feel like you have to go point to point on any of our trails.
Okay.
Because like, you know, tons of beautiful places.
Yep.
Like lots of beautiful places to get up to.
Yes.
But also a lot of like guides will be like, you have to go see something.
Okay.
No, you have to go to wherever you get good views.
Yes.
Don't worry about stressing yourself to get to an alpine lake, especially if your body's not ready.
Second piece of this, and as I've talked about, is to really spend time on the Trail Ridge Road. This is where you can pull over, get magnificent views of these alpine lakes, find some minor trails. The ones that were recommended to me by the rangers itself were the Alpine Ridge Trail, which I will cover, as well as the West Ute Trail. Alpine ridges are very short and accessible trails for folks. The other one was a tundra trail. There are some other ones around, you'll find them, but just know, don't overdo it at this elevation.
Is that I would absolutely recommend spending at least a little bit of alpine time. If you don't have like a huge amount of hiking experience, you're not going to be good
We're
for
big
that.
hikers, but she's 7 months
Yeah,
pregnant,
yeah.
so that's where.
But like here, like a lot of the stuff along here, Trail Ridge Road is some of the most accessible alpine in the U.S.
This is where we came from. We came from this side.
From Estes, yeah.
So we stopped at a bunch of the overlooks.
Yeah, so like those overlooks or the Tundra Communities Trail or like the first little bits of the Ute Trail, and like certainly all of this gets you into stuff that's very subalpine and then alpine eventually.
Yeah.
But like, you know, especially for people who are not super avid hikers and stuff, or families or something just coming through, experiencing some of this alpine ecosystem, because like lots of other places in the US you have no ability to access it without like hiking 6 miles or something.
That's your one day guide. There are some side roads and things that you can check out. For this video, I'm gonna show you mainly the Ridge Trail Road, and I'm gonna go through all the things that you're gonna see in the video here. So let's jump into that last piece. So starting up front, I'm gonna kick us off here at the Beav3r Meadows Visitor Center. This is right outside the park. You're gonna drive on the 36, you enter the park. Again, if you're before 9, you're set. If you're after, you better make sure you have that reservation with you. Early on, you can see Moraine Park campground signs, but you're gonna keep driving. Stay on Route 34, which is the Trail Ridge Road. You can see they're closed in the winter. Again, here you can see that you can go up here, go to Long Lake, you can go to Sheep's Lakes, a different campground, etc. I am not covering that for this. We're staying on the Trail Ridge Road. So as you start on the Trail Ridge Road, you're gonna start to climb some elevation. Your first overlook is going to be the Many Parks Curve Overlook. Really panoramic views of Moraine Park, Horseshoe Park, and Long's Peak. This is a good spot for sunrise or sunset if you're around this area. If you can find the parking, do it, walk down a little bit, you see a walking trail, and find your spot for some amazing photos. As you keep going, shortly after, you're gonna hit Rainbow Curve Overlook. This is where I mentioned it's your first major stop with parking and restrooms. There is an incredible overlook into Hidden Valley and some of those east slopes, including a little tiny waterfall that you can see in the distance. And again, use the restroom here if you're planning on making frequent stops, because the next ones are a bit of a drive away. Next up, you're gonna check out Forest Canyon Overlook. And now you're about 12,000 feet elevation. This is really when you can start to feel how thin the air is. Here you'll have stunning views of the Forest Canyon with Hayden Spire in the distance. Again, this is where you might start to feel a little lightheaded, which is exactly what I felt. You want to walk a little bit slower and make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Take those electrolytes with you. Your next stop is not a long drive after, it's Rock Cut Overlook. Really fantastic views. We did not get a chance to stop here. We drove by it, but we didn't stop here just because of how packed and busy it was. So while we saw it, we did not get a chance to stop here. One of the ones that was called out here was the Tundra Communities Trail. This is a 1 mile round trip walk across fragile tundra. If you stopped, they have these really unique rock formations called mushroom rocks. And it's a good spot to see tiny alpine wildflowers in the summer. As you keep driving, you're gonna see some other pullouts that you can check out. There's one near Iceberg Pass, Gore Range Overlook, which also recommend you stop. And then right after that, you finally have the Alpine Visitor Center. This is the highest visitor center in the national park system. They have exhibits about tundra life, glaciers, and building of the Trail Ridge Road. You can find sandwiches, snacks, hot drinks, coffee. There's a gift shop here. And the Ridge Trail, which starts right at the entrance. It is a 0.66 mile hike, one that I highly recommend. Very worth the views and the stop, especially because as soon as you're done, you can go use the restroom, you can get a snack, coffee, whatever it is that you need here. Now from here, you can turn around. What we did, because I saw 2 giant lakes on the western side, is we kept going and we followed the road toward the Grand Lake entrance. Now along that, you have the Medicine Boat Curve, which is immediately after the Alpine Visitor Center. There's a beautiful spot here overlooking the Never Summer Mountains, and there's some frequent elk sightings in the valley below. And then you have the Fairview Curve Overlook, which I took some more photos here as well. Now, as you start to descend, you'll notice those terrain changes happen, right? You're gonna go from that alpine tundra to a more thick subalpine forest. This is where it gets a little bit interesting and where I'll end the video. As we exited Grand Lake, and this is one of the trails that the ranger also called out we could check out if we were heading this direction, was around Grand Lake, there is the East Inlet Trailhead, and that shares a trail with Adams Trail. Adams Trail is 0.8 miles. You see a really cool waterfall. The interesting thing here is when you get to that very trail entrance, there's a sign that says you're entering the Rocky Mountain National Park. So this is within the park. Adams Falls Trail, and I've covered that trail here as well, is within park grounds, but it is outside of the main entrances that you would encounter. So if you're looking for something to do before, after, how we did it after, you can go check out this trail. You can do the longer ones that are there, or you can do under a mile trail and check out an awesome waterfall while you're around. And that covers your one-day guide on the Trail Ridge Road and the Rocky Mountain National Park. Did I cover absolutely everything that you can do in the park? Probably not, but if I did, this video would be 45 minutes long. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you find value in my insights, the things that I collect for you guys, as well as all the conversations I have with rangers to put these videos together and better inform you, drop a comment, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Drop a question down below. If I can answer it, I will. If not, I always recommend you call the park and talk to a ranger. And with that, enjoy the trail guides that will be released in the upcoming weeks, and I'll see you next time.